I'm Ray Allen. I'm the president CEO of Pepper Shock Media. We've been in business since 2003, so we're going on, I guess, what is that, almost 17 years. And we are having our annual Shocktoberfest, our anniversary party. And this year it's going to be on 10, 15, 20. And at 5 o'clock, so 5, 10, 15, 20. Anyway, I just realized that was going to be the date. It's a Thursday in October. Anyway, hopefully, everything will go well and we get to have people over for that. But I have been working with or for small businesses, and we say I work with Fortune None to Fortune 100 companies across the globe. And we work with nonprofits, government entities, small business, all the way up to Fortune 500 companies. And we've done a lot of different types of work, but it's really marketing and building brands and bottom lines. And I believe that it comes from the inside out. So building your brand through your culture is what we focus on. And there was a time in my business that I switched focus from just always saying that the client's always right, client comes first, and then focusing and switching to the idea that no, really my employees come first, and then they will take care of my clients. And so when that happened, a lot of things changed for us in a lot of positive ways. And so I share what I've learned, some, good, bad, and ugly. And so nurturing creativity in your team and productivity in your team. I feel like I've come a long way just from when we very first started. I was young and in my early 20s when we first started the business. And so I think by now I've learned a few things and hope to share with you some of those things that I've learned along the way. And Stacy, I'd like for you to introduce yourself.
Yeah, well, hello everyone. I'm so glad to be with all of you here today. And Ray and I are really excited to get to deliver this together. This workshop, or whatever we want to call it, webinar, evolved out of us having multiple conversations over several different months, and just kind of different iterations about our own schedules, our productivity, how do we work with people. And one day we were like, well, why don't we actually just have an open conversation about this and share and learn for people who are coming to talk with us about this. So we definitely don't want to be here just kind of preaching at you today. We want to get your thoughts and your feedback and your insights so that we can grow with you today. Like Rhea, I've been in business for a while, but not quite 17 years. I started my business in 2009. And back then I was actually an English teacher. So I taught high school language arts, and I taught at a private school, international school in the Dominican Republic. And then shortly after that, I moved to Vietnam, and I taught in Vietnam. I was building my business along the side. And then after that, I went full time. So since about 2010, I have been running my business full time, and have had lots of things happen in the interim that I will spare you all the details of. But the long short of it is today I write books. I help people write their books. I help people share their stories. I'm very active and involved in uplifting women and people of color, in helping them share their messages and get their voices heard, helping people clarify what they want to say and get out there and say it. So that's really where my passion is. I'm a major word nerd and a super productivity nerd because it's something that I struggled with and it's something I had to learn. And so we're just super excited to share with you today. I'll give you a really quick overview of the format. So Ray's gonna kick us off. We're focusing on 10 pieces of advice, so 10 tips. She's gonna go through her 5. She has a heavier focus on culture and branding because that's what she does, but definitely also creativity and productivity. And then I'm going to share my 5. And along the way, we hope you'll engage with us. We hope we keep this open dialogue. And then at the end, we are planning to stay to answer any questions. So if you need to go right on the hour, we completely understand, but we will also hang around with you and answer your questions and talk with you afterwards.
All right, so first things first, we got an icebreaker. You ready for this? So this is going to be something that I want you to take back to your teams as a creative way to just get your mind in a creative space. And so one of the things that I do with my team is I have a couple different books that we'll put in the link and recommend, but you know, it's game storming, game playing, caffeine for the creative team. So we're going to just do a quick little exercise here and get your mind in that space. And so let's see what the rules are. And we're going to modify it because we're on Zoom, right? So we're going to do something a little bit different than what the rules are. But this is the activity. Well, it's well, you see, he's so captions to images help a lot, especially when the image is a bit vague. Given enough time, we're sure you could figure out what most pictures are, but there is the occasional image that, simply put, is unexplainable. As simple as it may seem, that's your task today. Grab a partner. Well, we'll just do it in the chat today because that's where we are. We'll be setting up and capturing these pictures that can't be explained. This picture, we'll just do one today. And this shot needs something that without a caption, it has no meaning. So we're going to create captions. So what we want you to do is think of a caption that this picture needs. So maybe it's kind of like a meme caption or something of that nature. And I want you to throw in the chat what your capture is. Come up with something fun, random, crazy, maybe keep it PG if you wouldn't mind. But now you get to be a creative person and you get to tap into your brain and caption that photo. So I'm going to give you 60 seconds to come up with a really good caption. This is where I need the Jeopardy theme song. Here's my timer. Any questions?
Do you want me to hum the theme song for you?
I know, right?
Do, 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 do.
I got my timer going. Oh, it seemed like a good idea at the time. Want to hang out? Well, that didn't work. Are my feet touching? Hold on, this won't last forever. There was a spider. Time to put your feet up. Help! Excellent.
Those are so good.
Hang in there, just hanging in there. Awesome. Mondays. So that didn't take a whole lot of time, right? At least when I land, my butt is soft. Fantastic. Okay, we got 10 more seconds. Anybody else who wanted to add their caption? Here we go.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right? All right, so we're counting down. 5, 4, 3, 2, and okay, now your creativity is done for the day. No, I'm kidding. So the point of this is when you are wanting to work with your teams, coming up with just short little activities just to get your brain going and you know, we've done lots of different things, and Jordan will put in the link, our assistant here, and he will put in the link to be able to check out those books. We have a link on our website that you can do that. But the idea is coming up with gameplay, coming up with ways to engage your audience, even if you are through Zoom, like we just did. You have to modify, right? Adapt and modify. And really, it's about having fun and making things memorable for your team and coming up with ways that you can still be creative, still come up with different types of things to talk about that always isn't just all about the business, right? It's coming up with things that you can do that's completely random and different. And I'll share with you what I did with my staff last. We did a story twister, and I did breakout rooms, and I put my teams together, and there was a twister of the story and then like a traditional storyteller, and they would start off with a traditional storyline, and then the twister would come up with something crazy and different that would kind of twist the story. And then we brought everybody back together, and then they got to read their stories. Just getting people up and running and going and moving. And I know today we're going to do a little bit of an activity during our little break that Stacy will have us do. But all right, so let's get into this. 10 ways to nurture your creativity and productivity. So the number one thing for us in a creative space and in a creative environment, a creative team, we know, and we do a lot of camping with our staff, and every year we have our Pepper Shock powwow, and we know that our happy campers make happy customers. And I shared earlier that it used to be the other way around. I always put customers first, whatever they wanted, whatever, you know, and to a point and almost to a fault. And it came to a head when we had just a really difficult time with one of our customers that was very demanding, very, just difficult to work with. And it was a huge decision for us to pivot and no longer work with that customer. And it meant a lot of money. It meant a lot of, you know, trials and things that we had to go through in order to do that. But what I wanted to make sure of is being able to have that creativity cultivated in an atmosphere that was not difficult to work with. And so we know that our happy campers or our happy employees then turn around and make our happy customers. So there's things about what we look for when we hire. We want to make sure it's the right fit, and that people are open-minded and have the ability to be innovative, resilient, are worried about and concerned with having superior outcomes. And also it's about relationships. So those are our 5 principles, and it spells out series: superior outcomes, integrity, relationships, resiliency, and innovation. And we know that if we can operate at the speed of trust with our employees, and we can hold each other accountable, and we focus on our team, and do different things that continue to engage our customers and our employees, that then also where they are free to be able to take care of our customers better. So our company culture is important to our employees. Our workers are more likely to enjoy their time at the workplace when they're in the right fit. And so they have the ability to have that creative mind space. And employees intend to work and enjoy their work when their needs and values are consistent with those within the workplace. And then they tend to develop better relationships with our coworkers and our employees and our vendors and our partners and our community. And they then in turn become more productive. And that's what we're talking about, is increasing productivity through that. And I love the book, The Speed of Trust by Stephen R. Covey's son, the other Covey. And so if you've never read that one, that's another recommendation I think is on that link as well. If not, we'll get it there. But anyway, on the other hand, if you work for a company where you don't fit and you are afraid to be creative and afraid to be innovative, then you're not going to have as much pleasure in the work that you do. So, you know, if you prefer, sometimes if the company emphasizes teamwork and you prefer to work independently, or don't have that open mind space or, you know, the right headspace to be there, it's going to be a little more difficult for you to fit, right? And it's all about the fit. And employees who fit in the culture and can really benefit from the creativity and productivity that they can share because they fit. That's the idea. And sometimes if you find that, you know, that you've got some employees that just don't fit, sometimes you can coach them up and do what you can do. I always say that whole adage of teach a man to fish, he'll eat for life, but you just feed him a fish, he'll eat for a day. So ideally we want to coach them up and teach them to fish, right? So companies with happy employees outperform the competition by 20%. Happy employees are 12% more productive, right? So we're talking about productivity and creativity here. If we want our people to be more productive when they're happy. And 61% of employees agree that they have made healthier lifestyle choices because of the company wellness program. So other things that consider keeping our people and our creative minds healthy and happy, that we incorporate. Everyone loves free food, so just keep that in mind. If we, you know, can help supply things that they can eat healthily, we do. There's in Idaho, there's a organization called Fit Donuts, and they're made out of fit materials. So the ingredients are, you know, like almond milk and you know, some of them are gluten-free, those types of things. So we have our Fit Donut Mondays. Now that we're going to come back to the office, we might have our Fit Donut Mondays back again. But those are some things that continue to do. We did a virtual happy hour. We had a brewery deliver to our staff and the people who are at Culture and Brand Camp with us. And so some other things to continue to keep fun. And that can be kind of spur some creativity too, let me tell you. Let's see. Did it go to the next one? Yeah. All right. So number two, the other thing that continues to keep us in a creative space and more productive is when we're all in alignment with our brand and who we represent and who we want to represent. And so this is something that we work on with our clients and our staff internally for Pepper Shock as well. But our brand essence, it's really truly the experience and the heart and soul of our brand. It's the fundamental nature and quality of who we represent, who we are. And in your case, if you don't have staff, it's your personal brand. It's your reputation. It's the voice and personality of your attitude or your writing style or your, the tonality and moods and attitudes of who you are or your company, right? And by the way, if your personal brand is in alignment with your company brand, you're going to be far better off with that alignment. And so those are some things to continue to work on, right? And make sure that you're in alignment there. But a strong brand voice and a strong relationship with our employees or your employees is achieved by really understanding what the brand stands for, what that experience is. We have a red carpet at our door because we want to give red carpet service to our customers. Even though orange is our color, it's the one thing that I did keep that was red before we did a rebrand. We kept our red carpet at the door because we want to give that red carpet customer service, and it's a reminder to that. And it really kind of understanding the beliefs and personality of our brand and all of the elements that define what our look and feel and our tonality. It helps to maintain productivity and creativity, to know what you stand for, know what you're good at, know why you do what you do, and finding that alignment with your personal brand and your company brand or employee versus employer brand can really help you convey your purpose and your mission or your mantra to everyone that can then, stay the course and stay consistent. And we have a rule. So fun, fame, or fortune. If we're going to work with a client, we need to at least pick two. Is it going to be fun to work on? Meaning, is it going to be, something that will fulfill us and fill our cup? Or is it going to be, fame? Meaning, are we going to get some notoriety out of it? Is it going to be something cool? Can we, do some award-winning work with this particular potential client, or fortune? Are we going to make money? Because we obviously love what we do, but we have to also make money at what we do, otherwise we wouldn't sustain and wouldn't be able to continue to do it. So fun, fame, or fortune. And then as a result of that too, we said, okay, will they allow us to be creative? Will they listen to what we give them as our ideas, right? So we have what we developed is called a CWI score, Client Worthiness Index. And how does this affect your creativity and productivity? Well, are they going to be clients that are worthy of your talent and your time and your treasure that you give to them? So thinking in alignment with the people that you're working with. Okay, so moving forward, let's see, how am I doing on time? We need to continue moving, moving forward here. Okay, so when we think about what we're wanting to accomplish, we go through SMARTer goals. Goals should be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, timely, ethical, and recorded. Consistently reporting on your goals and keeping them recorded, putting them up. We have a big board that we have each of our avatars, and we put our goals out there. We have health goals. We have goals for the company. We have individual goals, and then we have accountability partners who are going to help keep us accountable to our goals. And so what I want to do for 1 minute is I would love for you all to come up with a SMARTer goal for yourself. And make it specific, maybe it's the next 6 months, maybe it's the next 6 days, measurable. What is it that you can do to agree on, what can you measure? What can you, is it achievable? Is it something that's relevant, timely now? Is it ethical? And so SMARTer, especially in our world in advertising, we want to make sure that it's ethical, right? And recorded. So if you want, you don't have to, and only if you care to share, I would love for you to take a minute and create a SMART goal for yourself. And then we're going to assign accountability partners in doing this. So if you would like to put your SMART goal in the chat, feel free to do that right now, thinking about what is a specific goal you want to make. And is it going to be measurable? Meaning, is it going to happen? And this could be anything in relationship to, maybe I want to be more creative. Maybe I want to journal every day. Maybe I need to find ways to be more productive, whatever that case might be. And you can revisit this too, and we can always adapt and modify these goals. But I want to see what you want to do. What goals do you want to make? So I'm going to be quiet for 60 seconds. And I would love to see what you come up with for a smarter goal. And again, we can always refine these later, but we're going to do that. And then we're going to have some accountability partners. Okay, this is where we need the theme song again, I guess. Here's my timer.
Am I going to have to hum it every time? Do, 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 do.
Right, that's the only thing in Zoom. It's just always so quiet. Okay, Stacey, I'm going to challenge you to say specifically when. You're going to organize and maintain that organization of your office. So when are you going to organize it? Specific dates. Okay, we got 15 seconds. Good, good. Ten seconds. I might be giving you a little more time just because. Ooh, nice date. Holly, good job with the date. Nice. Okay, you can keep putting your goals in there. What I want to do is assign some accountability partners. And I know that we have people from all over the world right now, all the way from Portugal to Canada to Boise, Idaho to Eastern Idaho. I mean, we've got everywhere. And I know you don't know each other, but that's okay. This is an opportunity to get to know somebody. And we're going to do a little, what my friend Shelly Jorgensen calls fingertip networking. I'd love for you to also drop in your contact information that you care to share. Maybe it's your LinkedIn connection, so you don't have to get too personal. But what I want to do is assign some accountability partners. So let's see. Stacy said, Pamela, let's be accountability buddies. Yeah, that's great. If you have somebody that you want to be your accountability partner, or you want to be an accountability partner for somebody, let's do that now. And I would love for everybody to have an accountability partner. So let's take 30 seconds to make that happen. Let's see. Stacy with an E. There's two Stacys, right? Stacy with an E is going to be with Pamela. And then, so Pamela needs an accountability partner. Who would like to be Pamela's accountability partner? Holly, how about you be Pamela's accountability partner? I'm just going to start randomly picking. Sarah Massey. Hi, Sarah. Let's see. Sarah needs an accountability partner. Let's see. It's got A. Thomas. What is your name there? A. Thomas. Let's have you be Sarah Macy's accountability partner. And then we need A. Thomas. You can always change your name on there if you, so I don't keep calling you the wrong name, but let's see, Amanda Turner, would you like to be, you can unmute yourself and tell me your real name. Athamas? I don't know. Okay, so let's see, Jenna, how about you work with Pat? And Travis, you work with Christina. And Jordan, you work with Jenna. Let's see, Jenny, and is it Busa, PC? Let's have you guys work together. And Liz, you work with, let's see, who else is on here? Oh, Angela Thomas, there we go, thank you. Who does not yet have accountability partners? Let's see, I wanna be Lindsay Hunt's accountability partner. Fantastic.
You can raise your hand too if you don't have a partner yet. You should be able to in your window. There's an option to raise hands, and we'll be able to see that. So just let us know if you haven't been paired.
Oh, Mindy, there's my friend Mindy too. Yeah, let's just make sure you get paired up with somebody, and we'll make that happen. And the reason for that accountability partnership is a couple things. You could get to know somebody else that you may not have known before. And then if you also, if you have somebody else to hold you accountable, then the fact is that you're going to be more likely to do it. And I know that's true because I hired Stacy to help me write my book, and she's holding me accountable to make that happen. It's true. Okay, so moving forward, and we can continue to work on that in the chat, making sure people have accountability partners, and yeah, Stacy can maybe help with that as I continue real quick here. So the other thing that we work on is our rocks. They help support our annual goals, our smarter goals, and our quarterly rocks. We literally painted rocks at our last Pepper Shock powwow. And it also happened to be when it hailed. So it was, if you see this picture, there's actually white stuff in the background. That's hail, so it's hailing while we're trying to paint our rocks. And I'm just gonna show this quick video here. I wanna make sure that we have computer audio going here. Okay, so let me know if you can't hear this.
There's a well-known story about a university professor who wanted to make a point about how we make the most of our time. The professor stood before his class with some items in front of him. When the class began, without speaking, he picked up a large empty jar and proceeded to fill it with rocks about 2 inches in diameter. He then asked the students if the jar was full. They agreed that it was full. So the professor then picked up a box of pebbles and poured them into the jar. He shook the jar lightly and watched as the pebbles rolled into the open areas between the rocks. The professor then asked the students again if the jar was full. They chuckled and agreed that it was indeed full this time. The professor picked up a box of sand and poured it into the jar. The sand filled the remaining open areas of the jar. Now, said the professor, I want you to recognize that this jar signifies your life. The rocks are the truly important things, such as family, health, and relationships. If all else was lost and only the rocks remained, your life would still be meaningful. The pebbles are the other things that matter in your life, such as work or school. The sand signifies the remaining small stuff and material possessions. If you were to put sand into the jar first, there is no room for the rocks or the pebbles. The same can be applied to your lives. If you spend all your time and energy on the small stuff, you will never have room for the things that are truly important. Pay attention to the things in life that are critical to your happiness and well-being. Take time to look after your health, play with your children, go for a run, write a letter to your grandmother. There will always be time to go to work, clean the house, or watch TV. Take care of the rocks first. The things that really matter, set your priorities. The rest is just pebbles and sand.
Okay, so hopefully you were able to hear that, but the idea with the rocks is making your priorities what needs to be, and being able to have room for those first, and then the pebbles will fall in place. Not sweating the small stuff, right? And thinking about your strategy and your tactics that you're gonna take. We liken it's like a blueprint that you need. You need to have a blueprint before you go build a building. Same thing for building a brand or being in a creative space. You got to have a plan in order to make that happen. And so we think about, okay, what's our strategy? What's our plan? How are we going to make this happen? What are our goals? What are we going to do? And what steps do we need to take and get that done, right? So those are some ideas, and then some tactics that you can do. And I think Stacy's going to cover some more tactics too. But just thinking about ways that you can continue to carry that forward. And what's your strategy going to be that works for you? Okay, number 3, playing to your strengths and being able to truly be productive and creative is really being efficient when you can work in a collaborative state and you utilize people's strengths. And in our team, we have done strength finders. And if you've never done strength finders, it's something I highly recommend. It will produce a report that tells you your top 5 strengths after you do this testing and assessment. And for example, my top strength is command. I always say command, not demand. And then it's woo. So I'll woo you into doing what I want you to do. And then it's also ideation, and then activation and includer are mine. You can unlock the rest, you have to pay more for it. But those are some things that you can do. There's also all kinds of different tests that you can do for personality tests to understand and unlock who you are and what you stand for and how you operate. There's the 4 tendencies, there's the Myers-Briggs. So if you're introvert, extrovert, the DISC assessment. And I know that Ron Price is from Price Associates, who co-authored a book with Stacy. He is a mentor of mine and a friend. And we've talked a lot about DISC assessments. And so DISC stands for dominant, I stands for influential, S stands for supportive, and then C is compliance. And Drew and I are opposite. My husband and I, a business partner, are complete opposite. I'm a high ID, he's a high SC. So it really works out. But understanding how you can play to your strengths in your team and who's good at what, and uncovering what can be done so that you become more efficient and more effective, and relying on those who can do the things that maybe you're not so good at, but they are, and uncovering what that means. So number 4, right now we're talking about, the world's largest work from home experiment, right? And so thinking about being productive, I thought this would be a good one to just kind of touch on in coming up with, the things to do. And I just wanted a couple tips, and I'm going to kind of go quickly because I feel like I want to give more time to Stacy, but just little things like if you hold the space bar down, you can speak and then release it, and then you are muted and unmuted when you're holding the space bar down. Just little tips and tricks and things that you can do to help with working from home. Also, another thing is having the camera eye level and having a light on you so that people can see you and hear you. And it's proven that 80% of our communication is body language. And so being able to see people, I think, is going to significantly change the way people are doing business on a ongoing time. So keep that in mind. All right, continuing on here. 80 to 90% of working Americans would like to work remotely at least part-time, and 68% said that they would expect to work remotely instead of commute to an office every day. So this is definitely something that's going to be changing and continuing on. So you have to figure out how to be productive and creative through an online working environment. So then the other thing that I briefly touched on is gameplay. So gameplay and these creative ideas, the books I was telling you about, helping to wake up your team with some fun and engaging activities. When you're working remotely, those breakout stories or the breakout rooms, you really don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel. You can use some tools and things that people are doing and being able to make that happen. And so with that note, I want to have us do some engaging activity, and Stacy's going to now lead us in a moment of what we're going to do, engaging with everyone. So Stacy, what do we get to do?
Okay, so in all transparency, we were going to have a dance party today, and then we just felt like there's a lot of things happening right now, and a dance party didn't feel quite appropriate. So instead, we would like to do, this is a complete experiment, okay? So we would like to do a yoga, it's like a yoga handoff, okay? So I'm not gonna make you stand up just in case you're wearing pajama pants. If you're not on video and you wanna join us, turn it on, because we have to see you in order to fully participate. So I'm gonna just wait a couple seconds. No judgment if you haven't done your hair today, or you're wearing an old t-shirt. We've all been working from home for months. Okay, so we've got a few of us. Okay, so here's how it's gonna work. I'm gonna start with a stretch, and just upper half only, so that we don't embarrass anybody. With Ray shared a fun story yesterday about pajama pants, MC pajama pants, standing up in front of like 100 and something people. So we won't do that to you today. So I'm going to start out with a stretch, upper half stretch. And then I'm going to hold it for a count of 5. And then I'm going to pick somebody to lead us in the next stretch. You'll hold it for a count of 5, and then you'll pick somebody. So we're going to like guide ourselves through some stretching, and just to kind of loosen us up and get us awake, so I can share my 5 tips with you. Okay, so, and I didn't plan my stretch, so let me think for a second. Okay, so we're gonna do, I think it's called eagle arms, if you do yoga. So you can stretch your arms out, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna put your right arm, I have headphones in, so right arm underneath like this, and you're gonna kind of wrap your hands like this. Okay, so see how I did that? Right arm's underneath the left, And then I'm going to pull the left front and kind of wrap them like this. I'll show you on this side. Okay, and then I'm going to put it against my forehead, and I'm going to stretch up for a count of 5. 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Okay, let's see. Amanda, I'm gonna pick on you next. You're gonna have to unmute yourself.
Okay.
Don't get too excited.
Look away. My husband's staring at me.
I love it.
Can we just do this?
Yeah, of course.
And up.
Oh, yeah.
All right, that's fine.
Good one.
This is going.
Good call. Okay, who's next?
Sarah Massey.
Oh, let's see. Oh, there you are, Sarah.
Okay. I'm slightly mobility limited, so we're just going to side stretch.
Creative.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so what are we doing? Is this right arm?
Right arm, yep.
Okay.
Oh, I went the wrong way. I don't know.
I know, because it's mirrored, right?
Maybe I'm backwards. I don't know. It felt good on both sides, though.
I feel like we should do the other side too.
Yeah.
What do you think? Even, yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay, and I
Who's next, Sarah?
take Jordan.
All right, Jordan.
All right, Jordan.
I will just relax, just shake it out for 5 seconds.
Oh, I like this is like kind of like a dance party.
Yeah, it's kind of like it.
Just enough of a dance party.
Good.
I'll pass it on to Ray.
Okay. You don't have to stand up if you don't want to, but if you want to, you can stand up and just stretch and touch your toes if you want.
I can't touch my toes. I'm gonna do my best.
There you go. Or touch the back of your calves. How about that?
My yoga teacher is very disappointed with the progress I've made over the year.
If you can't do that, you can still be in your chair and still touch down to the ground. That way you engage the other part of your body. Sitting is supposed to be like the worse than like smoking, right? Okay, cool.
Okay,
Isn't that the truth? Sarah says she's still here, but she's tending to her kiddo. And isn't that the way of the world these days now? I mean,
yes.
I have kids. Yeah, it's so true.
Okay, so we've got, I think, 3 people left. We've got Holly, Stacy, and Travis.
Okay, Holly, would you like to go?
Sure. How about we look over our the one shoulder?
Ooh, good idea.
Which shoulder? The left shoulder? Right
The
shoulder?
right.
Okay.
I guess we have to do both.
Yeah, I agree.
Starting with the right.
Are we lifting our arm up or just, okay.
Yeah, the arms are parallel, and then
Oh.
forget. I think it's in warrior. I think it's for warrior.
Oh,
one.
we're like sitting
Yeah.
warrior.
Nice.
That's good. I like that one. Okay, who's next?
Did Travis go?
I'll go.
Okay.
Okay, Stacy.
You just, put your hands on the back of your head and then just bring your chin down to your chest. Just that.
Oh, that's a good one. Good call.
I could stay there for a while.
I know, me too. All right, Travis, you're up.
I'll go along the lines of Amanda, but instead of going vertical, we'll go out horizontally.
Oh, yeah.
Backs.
Good call.
Chin down, take a deep breath. Very good.
All right. So now I'm going to go take a nap rather than sharing mine with you. But I am going to share. That was awesome. Thank you guys all for participating in that. I'm going to make my screen big here. I'm going to share with you, and you let me know if you can see my messy desk, which is what you should be seeing in just a minute. It's a messy desk slide. Okay, can everybody see that okay?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, I'll make sure I can see all of you. So I got all of you up. Okay, well, welcome to my half of the presentation today. So Ray obviously shared a lot of great tips about culture and branding and how do you spark creativity and inspire people. And I am going to take us to a really a very practical level in my portion of the presentation. I'll start off by saying that I am a naturally super disorganized person. It has been a struggle throughout my life to train my brain to get into the flow, to get my space organized. And I recognized early on in my life that if I didn't become a student of personal development and productivity, that I was going to fail at life. And so I have really, since I was about 16 years old and was really failing school, and I entered college on academic probation, I had to figure out how to be successful in being productive, in arriving on time to things and getting things done on time, and really becoming productive and being productive both with my work and with my creativity. And so I've been studying this for a long time. I've been teaching people this for a long time, and I'm going to share some of the strategies that have worked for me and that have worked for people that I coach and that I've worked with. So one thing I would like to know though, before I actually dig in, is what are some of your biggest challenges when it comes to being productive and when it comes to time management? So if you could share that with me in the chat, I would love to hear what some of your challenges are when it comes to being creative and productive. I'll go back to my correct slide. Ray, my chat window is not up, so if you could read me some of the replies that are coming up.
Yes. Interruptions, too many interruptions. Again,
Yes.
Consistency, prioritizing, consistency, prioritizing, delegation, not enough time in the day. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's awesome, because these are all the things we're going to talk about today. We're actually going to hit every single one of those points. So I'm really excited to dig in. So I'm going to get into our very, very first point, and that is discretionary time. So the very first one of my 5 points, building on our 10 ways to nurture your creativity and productivity, is to utilize the power of discretionary time for yourself and for others. So what is discretionary time? Discretionary time is focused time devoted to creativity, thinking, growth, or deep work. This is intentional time that you spend before you get into the tasks related to your work. And what's really important about discretionary time is that this happens before you open what I call the trap door to your brain. What do I mean by that? Well, we think about the brain as being this organ that is easily distracted, right? Most of us, many of us wake up and the first thing we do, what do? We check our phones, right? What do we do when we get to our desks? We check our email. And what we do when we engage the brain in that way is that we open this little door to the brain that takes our focus away from the most important task at hand and starts to send our attention in other directions. So rather than focusing deeply on, Amanda, you mentioned your writing, rather than focusing deeply on your writing, you're now considering that email that you need to reply to later, or this thing that you have to handle, or the text that you got from your brother-in-law the night before that's kind of gnawing at you. So we have all these kind of things that are taking our attention and distracting us from getting really good work done. And this matters for a couple of reasons. One, of course, focus is great. When we're focused, we get more work done. It's better work. But I have actually seen in my work and with people that I have watched kind of adopt this into their schedules, that they 4x their productivity, easily 4x their productivity. So I really believe, I don't have good scientific data to back this up, but I have observed it for many years, that 1 hour of deep focused work equals about 4 hours of distracted work. So right now, this is such a great time to focus, right? To make sure that we are getting that focused, deep work in our schedules, because a lot of us don't have as much time as we did before. We might have kids at home. We might have kind of odd, different work situations. And so we oftentimes are having a lot less time to kind of cram our work in. So why not make the most of it? Research shows that 98% of us are terrible at multitasking. And if you think you're in the 2%, I'm like almost guarantee that you're not. Almost everybody here today is really bad at multitasking. And other research shows, these are both in psychology, an article in Psychology Today, that we lose about 40% of our productivity when we are multitasking. I think that's a low number. I think we're actually losing a lot more productivity than that. And this really, really matters both for you as an individual, but also in how you lead your team and how you empower other people to do great work. I have a quote from Ron's and my book, Growing Influence, that speaks to this. This is actually speaking about discretionary time. And one of the main characters in the book, David says, or sorry, this was Emily, the other main character in the book. I advanced as a leader and gave more of myself to the company because I could think and plan strategically. So what they discover through their conversations in this book, and it's really based on things that Ron and I have learned in our own work, is that when you have time to think, when you have time that is uninterrupted before that trapdoor opens to your brain, and when you communicate effectively with other people, if you're in an office setting, that time is really precious and important to you, and you are only focusing deeply. You're not emailing, you're not open for a chat, it's focused deep work. That's where you get your best strategic work done, your best creative work done. And if you're a leader, and if you have a team that you are influencing their schedule, how can you create space for them to do their best work? This is really a powerful, powerful way that all of us immediately, starting tomorrow, can begin to nurture our creativity and productivity. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to choice, and it comes down to discipline. It comes down to really showing up, making the space, and communicating with our team. And when it comes to our employees and our teams, it comes down to trust and empowerment, that they are going to use that time that we give them to be the most creative and productive employees, team members that they can be. And especially now, it's such an important time to create that space to focus and do great work. Next, I want to show you what this looks like in action. So I suggest that you create and you actually ask your team, if you have a team, to create what I call a weekly rhythm. And I'm going to show you where the discretionary time fits in relation to a weekly rhythm. Don't worry, we're going to give you these slides. We're going to give you the recording. So you'll have, on the next slides, I'm going to show you some actual examples. You'll have those so you can use it as a template for your own. So a weekly rhythm essentially breaks your schedule, your week, into blocks of time. And this is a little bit different than how we normally manage our schedules, because instead of managing time, we're focused on managing energy, okay? So a weekly rhythm has a lot of benefits if you follow it. Now, it's not gonna be a perfect, every week is gonna look like what I'm about to show you, but it gives you a guide for what your week could look like and how you could kind of show up every day. The benefits of it are that you end up being more focused. We're going to work in that discretionary time, so you will definitely have space to focus. You are much less distracted. Part of the reason for that is that you account for your time, both at work and you're out of kind of your movement, your exercise, all the other things that matter as well as part of this rhythm. It includes movement actually as part of your plan for the day, because there's really good research that shows that when we get our bodies moving, our blood pumping, our brains work better, which, you know, leads to better productivity, makes us more awake when we're working. And again, it really kind of honors energy and manages energy over simply managing time, okay? So I'm gonna show you what my weekly rhythm looks like, and then I'm going to show you a mock-up example that I created based on a more typical schedule. So this is mine. This is what I base my weekly schedule off of. I work independently out of a home office, and I work remotely. So my schedule is gonna look a little different than yours. So again, I'm gonna show you another one in just a moment. So the way that I manage my weekly rhythm is that I make space for reading. I read every morning. I actually have a very specific kind of set of behaviors every morning. I drink 18 ounces of water. I get my breakfast. I get whatever novel I'm reading at the time. And then I usually will either pray, meditate, or journal, just kind of depending on what I need that day. And then I get right into my creative focus time. Now, the creative focus time is not necessarily writing, ideation, or art as I've listed here. Sometimes I'm actually working on things like this workshop today. It's really just a deep work time. But because I am a writer and I write about 2.5 books a year alongside traveling and doing a bunch of other stuff, I do spend the first 1.5 to 2 hours of my day writing pretty much every day. And then you'll see on here that I have 2 blocks where I check email. That's it. I check it twice a day. It does mean I'm a little slower to reply to people sometimes, but I feel that when I get back to people, the quality of my response is hopefully a little bit better because I'm very focused on it when I go to reply. And I don't have my inbox up while I'm working because it's just a distraction. It's that trapdoor open, attention going in the wrong direction. I take a 2-hour lunch break every single day and I exercise before I get back to work. And it just gets my blood pumping and back into my day. And then this will be interesting for those of you who are business owners or solopreneurs. I break out every day into a specific focused work period. So Next Level is my women's leadership training company that I co-founded. I have that on Mondays. And then I have finance. I have a course I'm working on, marketing and content. It doesn't look perfectly like this, but this is my goal. Here's the sample schedule that I put together. This is based more on somebody who has a lot more meetings every day than I do, because realistically, a lot of us end up being in more meetings, and it's not possible necessarily for you to hold all of your meetings until 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And so what I did here also assumed that perhaps you don't have 2 hours in the middle of the day where you can go exercise, shower, and get back to work. So I put that at the front of your day of this kind of template. Still getting that read, pray, meditate time, and then that focus time in every morning, that's that discretionary space. So that means that if you technically start work at 9 o'clock, you might need to show up early to make space for that. It kind of depends on what your schedule is. It is a discipline. It is about intentionality. I also recognize reality because a lot of us are, juggling some really weird schedules right now. So hopefully you can take something from this and apply it to your own schedule. But the other thing I'm really hoping that you'll take from this sample that I'm giving you is that you could perhaps empower some of your team members to have more focused time in their day, to create some of that discretionary time. Now, a couple things I want to point out about both of these here and in my schedule. On Tuesdays in this schedule, there are no meetings. Well, actually, sorry. No, yeah. Okay, I do have meetings in this one. Ideally, we wouldn't have any meetings at all on Tuesdays. So if I could, I would completely block out Tuesdays. On my schedule, on Fridays have no meetings at all, and most of Monday too. I meet with my assistant on Monday afternoons, but I have almost 2 full days of no meetings every week. That, if you can make that happen for yourself or for your team, 1 day a week, 1 full day top to bottom with no meetings, I cross my heart that you will see greater productivity, creativity, and engagement in your team because it makes a huge, huge difference. There's just having that time to catch up, to focus, to not have to be thinking about the thing that's coming up that afternoon. It's really empowering, and it really allows people that ability to show up fully. I'm talking a little fast because I'm seeing the time clock and I want to get to all of our points. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about is meeting management. So we just talked about no meetings. If you can manage it 1 day a week for no meetings, I challenge you to look at your current meeting schedule for your company. If you have a small business that you run or medium-sized business, or even if you are a manager, or if you are a solopreneur or running your own schedule, and look for ways to combine and reduce. We have an overburden of meetings in our lives, especially right now. And there is this idea that meetings equal productivity, and that's just not true a lot of the time. I think a lot of us know that already. There's some really good stats that I found related to meetings. One is that in 2019 alone, pointless meetings cost companies an estimated $399 billion just in 1 year. And if I could take this more personal to you, video conferencing. So this was studied April 6th to 7th. So this just occurred related to all of the COVID-19 stuff and having people at home, cost more than $1,250 per employee per month in just wasted time on Zoom meetings that they didn't necessarily need to have. So I would suggest to you that, can you reduce the number of meetings that you have every week in your personal schedule or in your company? Can you move meetings outside of your kind of creative and discretionary time? Can you move them to the afternoon as much as possible? And can you create no meeting days for yourself and for the people you lead? Those would have huge impacts on your creativity and productivity. Okay, next is communication expectations. So here is where I'm going to challenge us to let go of the need for an instant reply to our emails and to stop interrupting each other. You mentioned that in the chat when I asked you what your biggest challenge was. Getting interrupted is huge. Research shows that it takes 23 minutes to recover from an interruption. So think about when you're at the workplace and you have somebody, tapping your, on your door to get your attention, or sending you an email and you have your chime up and you're getting interrupted, that you're getting constantly pulled away from your ability to produce great work. And it's happening all day, every day to many of us. And even if we're not in the office, we're still getting interruptions at our homes, right? So some of us have kids that I have, some days my son will just like burst into my room in my office and, interrupt me. We're all dealing with that, but the more we can limit those interruptions, the better and more productive we will be. So what can you do? There's a few things that I would suggest. So one is, don't check your email before 11 a.m. if you can swing it. And communicate with your team and with your boss, if that's acceptable, that you're not checking your email until you've had that creative focused time every single day. It just allows your brain to stay focused, engaged, present. It makes a huge, huge difference. I have seen it in myself, and I've certainly seen it in other people who've adopted this habit as well. I also suggest you check your email twice a day. We talked about this, but checking email 2 times a day for focused periods versus being constantly available to your email, it means that you're unavailable to the work that you need to be doing in that moment. Christina, who is on this call today, had given a great suggestion actually in a call we had the other day of setting up office hours. And we had talked about even setting that up virtually. So you could, if you are running a team, create a recurring daily Zoom meeting where you turn it on, you continue your work, but your team can pop in and out whenever they need during that set period of time. And they know that they can ask you questions. They know they can get your ear on something. And if they don't show up at that time, they're gonna have to wait until the next day or when you check your email later that day. So you're not cutting off communication, you're actually welcoming more meaningful interactions with people. In the workplace, this would be the same as opening your door during a certain period of time and then communicating with people. Christina, in our discussion, had mentioned posting office hours on your office wall or on your door, or on your cubicle. And then wearing headphones so that people will not interrupt you. You have to be mama bear protective when it comes to your creativity and your productivity, because nobody else is going to do it for you. Okay, and then the last one, just being respectful of your time, and I want to make sure we have some time to open up for questions, is to really create a culture of flow. So this is, how can you create and nurture a culture of flow, both in your own work and in your company? So flow, I'm sure you've all heard this term before, but just to give you a quick definition, It's a mental state of being completely present and fully immersed in a task. We've all had this experience where you are writing or you're working on an Excel spreadsheet. I haven't ever had that experience, but I know some of you guys have had that experience before. Or you're creating art, or you're playing music. You're doing something that you are meant to do, and you have that full, beautiful, present, fully immersed experience. We can have that every day in our work. And I know because I experience that every day. I mean, there's definitely days where it's a little harder to come by than others, but I would argue that every single day I experience this in my work. And I really believe that part of the reason for that isn't necessarily because I picked the right thing, but it's actually because I create the habits and I fiercely protect that time so that I allow my brain to get into that flow state. So how can you do that? Well, we just walked through a bunch of ways that you can do it, but it all starts with really getting started, beginning, creating that discretionary time for yourself, making it a daily habit that you do every single day. It doesn't have to be 3 hours. It can be 15 minutes. 15 minutes of focused, discretionary, thoughtful time will have a huge impact on your work. Creating a weekly rhythm for yourself and building out your weekly schedule around that, being protective about your mornings, limiting meetings and having no meeting days, all these things that we just talked about, and letting go of the need for instant replies and constantly interrupting other people and allowing other people to interrupt you. So it's that communication piece. And so my challenge really for you is to define what a culture of flow looks like for you, and then begin to put these habits into practice in a way that works for your company or your role or your life. And that brings us, Ray, to our final question. And then we're going to open up for questions or discussion really in just a moment. And that is, what is one commitment that you will make to nurture your creativity, productivity, or company culture? And we would love to see that in the comments from you.
And if they want to frame it around a smarter goal, then that's one way to
yeah, I like that. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
and as my chat to what you're going to do, what your commitment will be. Did everybody get accountability partners as far as we know?
I think Holly was the only one that maybe at this point doesn't have somebody. Holly, I don't know if you ended up getting someone or not.
I know, Ray, you assigned me one, but then I couldn't remember who I thought it was, and then it looked like someone else paired up. So
Jenny just said she would be partnered with you. Jenny, would you message your information to Holly, please? That would be wonderful. Thank you. Okay, Sarah said, I will set up office hours and post them on my door. I love that. It's just such a tangible piece.
I love that too.
Take 1 hour each day to meditate, read, and or relax. I love that, Jordan. That's so good. It's great. There's nothing bad can come out of that for sure. Only good stuff.
I also want to remind people if they want to do their fingertip networking, and if we can support you in any way, to put your contact information in there, and we'll share that with everyone as you come up with your commitment to nurture your creativity, productivity, your culture.
I like that, Holly. That's really good. Making that space, really creating it for yourself is the only way that you can make it happen, and then showing up. Yeah, that's wonderful. Good. Well, I know we ended a little late, and we lost some people because of the lateness. But I'd love to open up to, feel free to turn on your video, unmute yourself, and I want to hear any thoughts or anything you want to build on. Great addition, Pamela. Yeah, I love it. You can do it. You can do it.
No email before 11. I like that too.
Oh, that's good. Exercise and meditation. I love it. Those are great. Okay, any thoughts that anyone would like to share, questions or insights, or I'm curious about?
Well, I can tell you, as people come up with their questions, it's been helpful to block out the time to do that. And I blocked out Thursdays to be my book writing day. And although it doesn't always work out the way I want it to, but at least it's got time stacked in my calendar that people can't touch. It's untouchable time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really important. Holly, you had mentioned that creating that space for yourself. One of the things that inspired me to do this many, many years ago is I went and I read about a bunch of writers I admired and their creative routines, all the things that they did before, like to be successful, basically, their daily morning routines. And the number one thing that I saw for everybody, can anyone guess what it was? Any guesses? They wrote every day. They wrote every day. That was the number one thing that everybody shared. The other thing is that they all had habits that led to the writing. So Stephen King has this great quote, and he says, I sit down at my desk between 8 and 8:30 each day. I have my vitamin pill and my glass of water and my papers just so. And all of these are to cue my brain that it's time to dream now. And so he's created all of these kind of habits to trigger that flow state for himself. And our brains are like, we're smart. We learn these things and we learn that, okay, we're getting ready to get into the flow state. And I really believe that I've seen it work. It's really powerful.
One thing that I really like to do is use a calligraphy pen. Like I had one years ago, and then I found out that one of the reasons is because it is really good for flow. And I don't necessarily want to do all my writing like that, but I do like to write in my journal. And like I just ordered myself a new calligraphy pen because mine wasn't working. I just love that. And you can even do that with colored ink, which the color came up as well. I just love color.
That's awesome. I love that idea.
That's fun. That's fun. And yeah, like having the sense of actually writing on paper too. I mean, sometimes I'll do that in my journal just because then I think differently. I think when I'm writing versus typing, it's just different.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. There's something about like transferring it too. So like if you're working on something you have to eventually publish, working by hand and then transferring it to the computer and working there, there's something interesting I think that goes on in the brain in that process.
And the sticky note throwdowns help too, because you can just put whatever ideas on each sticky note and then you can move them around and, put where you want things to go and how you want them to flow to be. I did that.
Yeah, I love sticky notes. They're the best. Does anybody who's not on video have any questions or thoughts or anything they'd like to add? Feel free to drop it into the chat or just turn on your audio if you don't feel like turning on video.
We could take a Zoomie, instead of a selfie, it's like a Zoomie.
Hi, Sarah and Pamela. Do you guys have some thoughts you want to share? Are we taking a Zoomie?
Okay, here, I'll take a Zoomie. Ready? Everyone smile. Wait, where did it go? There we go. Cheese. There, I got it.
Perfect. Was somebody about to share something? Was that you, Pamela?
Yeah, I want to say that this was very inspiring. Thank you. I've been
trying.
I have been ignoring my rocks for quite some time, focusing on other people's rocks, and I think I need to focus on mine.
We did that. We painted our rocks, and they each meant something to us. And now each of my staff have rocks, a jar of rocks on their desk to remind them of what their big rocks are. Yeah.
That's great. I love that, Ray.
I see Holly has said, I love reading my book into Google Docs. Next book is typed in. I'm wondering, is it possible to read notes into Google Docs? And I want to learn how to do that. Mm-hmm. Do I need special?
Yeah, I found it worked really well. Like I started because I've just completed my first book. And I've always been a real lover of writing. So I had to write to start with. But then later I thought, I wish I would have read this in. or typed it in right away. But I had actually a problem with my wrist at the time, so I wasn't able to use it that much. And reading into Google Docs, it's the one that I've found so far that is the most universal for voices, recognizing your voice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it is very
right?
smooth.
There's another tool called otter.ai,
Yep.
OTTER.ai, and it will transcribe your voice and it'll type it out. It's not perfect, but it'll type it all out, and then it can be, you can just voice it and then it'll type what you say, although it never gets my name right, but that's okay.
Yeah, I love transcription. It makes a huge difference. Hi, Achievers. I don't know if that's what your first name is, but did you have a thought or something you wanted to add?
If that is his first name, that's a pretty awesome first name.
I know, it's a rockin' name.
Muted there, though.
I'm gonna click ask to unmute so you can talk if you want. Something should pop up for you that lets you unmute yourself and talk. There you go.
Hello.
Hello. Have some thoughts to share?
I'm just joining. Hello.
Hi.
We can sort of hear you.
We can kind of hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. I'm logging in from Kenya.
Hi.
Yes.
Wow.
Nice to see you, Stacy.
Nice to see you. How are you?
Very fine. Very fine. I've been following you.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to join in this Zoom meeting.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. I know we probably need to wrap up soon just because of being respectful of people's time. And thank you for those of you who could hang out with us for a little bit. And we will send out the recording afterwards, and we'll send out an email to everybody. We have your email address. And just a note of that, if you ever want to unsubscribe, you're welcome to do that. But we will send out the recording. We'll send out a thank you and a downloadable, just a recap of the top 10. And like I said, if you want to unsubscribe, you're welcome to do that. And both Stacy and I will send you some information afterwards. And then in the chat, there's some links. And if you want to save the chat file, by the way, before we leave, there's 3 dots right up above where you type in the chat. You can hit that and you can hit save chat on there. And you can save people's information. You can save the links that are here. And then I think also Jordan will send that out to you as well in case you didn't. And I lost internet for a moment, and so I lost my chat. So hopefully.
Oh no! Well, I just saved it too, so we'll have it somewhere.
Oh, good. Okay, good, because I don't have mine completed. But thank you guys so much for joining us and being a part of this. I feel like this is going to be something that Stacy and I might do again.
Yeah.
If you liked it. So we'll collaborate and be creative and productive in that sense, and see what we can come up with for you. And Stacy, thank you for agreeing to be a part of this and helping doing what you do. I will give a quick recommendation to Stacy and her services. She's great. She's helping me with my book and getting me and holding me accountable, and the book outline and everything that's going on. We've been working on it. I did get a little waylaid because of pandemic and moving in life, but
I think there's a reason. That's reasonable, Ray. That's reasonable.
Right?
Yeah, and I'd love to also say Ray's team has made some amazing videos for me, speaker reel, brand video, things like that have been just awesome. So yeah, and just it's a wonderful friendship. So if you all have any ideas on what you'd like to see more of or thoughts on, we'd love to do a more interactive style too, like more of a workshop style. So if you have needs or interests specifically, just shoot us a note and we will do our best to plan something in the near future.
I still think we need to do Zumba on Zoom. Maybe that's what we'll do next time during our dance party.
I think so too. I think that would be really fun.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And until next time, enjoy, and we'll send out some emails. Feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn or any of those links that we sent you all, and we'll go from there. So This truly was an international experience. We have Kenya, Canada, Portugal, Boise, Idaho, and whoever else, wherever else. I think
California.
There were some
We had California.
California?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.
Definitely.
Thanks very much. Nice meeting everyone.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, everyone. Thanks for joining us today.
Wouldn't it be great if there was one place you can go to get all the latest information and tips about marketing and advertising? The Marketing Expedition community is that place. People like you gather in our online community to build relationships with others and find the latest marketing trends, tactics, tools, and technology. We help you build your brand and your bottom line. Start your adventure today. Visit themarketingexpedition.com to find out more.